There's little scope for statesmen to influence international affairs. The Constitution even prevents the government from joining international political organizations like the UN. The Swiss system is unique. In the capital, Bern, Parliament, called the Federal Assembly, only sits for 12 weeks a year. The rest of the time, the government is in the hands of the 7 members of the Federal Council. They are the only professional politicians in the country. The Assembly elects them, and they share out the ministerial jobs between them. They take turns at being president, being limited to 1 year each.
We don't want to give for too long a period to one person too much power. You see, you have to accept it. And I accepted it when I started my political life, and I'm sure it's a very reasonable system for Switzerland.
The Federal Council always consists of representatives from the major parties, linguistic minorities, and the most populous regions.
For a political nation with 4 languages, it's very important that different languages are represented in the government as a whole. We had, in very difficult economic situations, introduced the socialist members as well. That gave us the chance of a permanent dialogue with them. We have social peace. Since more than 40 years, you don't know strikes in Switzerland.
Without the right to impose income taxes, political games are not very tempting. Parties cannot buy votes with promises of public money. And the intrusions of a welfare state are contained by an overriding sense of liberty.
We want to realize as much as we can social justice. But the essential framework is always this philosophy of freedom, of independence, and justice.
The principle of the natural right to life, liberty and property, and its protection by limited government, was first enunciated in Christ Church, Oxford. How does it fare in Britain 300 years later? Oliver Letwin, a philosopher and former policy advisor to Mrs. Thatcher.
It's a very odd thing which Englishmen, British people in general, don't recognise and wouldn't like to recognise, I think, that they actually have no fundamental liberties. They have such liberties as happen to be allowed to them from time to time by Parliament. They have legal rights given to them by Parliament, and they have these strange things called positive rights, that's to say a right to have something positive, such as child benefit or supplementary benefit or a house from a council. And these things are allowed to them from time to time by Parliament. But if any of those are removed, or more importantly, if negative rights